States values the free market over government control of the economy. But here's a point that is seldom made. It didn't begin that way. Before the country placed its trust in the free market, it trusted the government to make important business decisions. Or to put it another way, only after the government failed repeatedly to promote economic growth, and only after private enterprise succeeded where the government failed, did the United States start to develop a world-beating economy. Let's look at 3 telling examples. In 1808, John Jacob
Hey folks, how's it going? Todd Mackey here, and just wanted to share with you my thoughts, again, opinions on the debt crisis. I call it a crisis because it's an ongoing issue that continues to plague our nation as Americans, and we shall deal with it in due time. And I can express to you my frustration and why it's not being dealt with, but I'd rather focus on the details and ramifications of what can happen if we do not address it. That is the issue with other countries loaning us money and eventually us having to pay back this debt, that, you know, the interest and everything to these countries that we're loaning. But if we continue to borrow, we are not going to get anywhere, and we are not going to be productive, as raising tax revenues generally inhibits business growth, inhibits economic growth, and therefore we would have to borrow more money to pay the interest on the debt that we're borrowing. But will we ever stop borrowing is the question. And what happens if we don't? So these are serious issues that I'd like to address in due time. However, the focus of this is just to raise awareness on the issue that is growing, that's continuing to burgeon our country in ways that are financially unstable, and will eventually lead us to a position where we might have an economic standoff when it comes time to pay our countries that are loaning us the money, the debt, and the interest due on that. So in order to continue and thrive as a country, we need to focus on some other type of currency, some other type of monetary system, because we understand after decades of recessions and booms and busts, and now we're coming to the end of our long-term debt cycle, we're seeing an issue.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Belvedere Street.
We're seeing an issue that needs to be addressed soon. So how do we get out of this? That's a question for, I think, scientists that study the issue every day to focus on. Me being a policy analyst, amateur, I can only go so far except as to look at the statistics and see that there is a problem and what policies we should adopt in order to try to fix the problem. So I see a future where we can work it out.
Take the next right onto Belvedere Street. Then you will arrive at your destination.
We're going to have to... sorry, I'm driving to a business right now. I think that it's important for us as Americans to address this quickly and to ensure that our stability in the nation going ahead is actually intact.
You've arrived.
I don't see anything. I don't know what it's talking about. I've arrived somewhere, but it's not telling me where. Anyhow, I'm curious as to your thoughts, if you'd like to share anything, and pardon me for being distracted somewhat in this talk with you, but it's of due importance, and it's my due diligence to share with you what's important, because I know that you probably understand a lot, but this is something that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed quickly before it gets way out of hand.